All right, here we go. It is July 1918, Eastern Front, Central Powers. And the Central Powers smell blood in the water. Well, the Germans took off and decided instead of sitting in their little trench lines, a demoralized enemy is a good enemy to beat down. So they went on the offensive and just smashed because when the Russians lost a whole bunch of units due to desertion, they were pretty weak in a lot of areas and had a lot of open holes in the line. So the Germans came across and started hammering. Here, there was a unit that was there that got taken out. They hammered a unit, I think that was here, took those guys out. And this whole area was wide open, so they just advanced into the hole. There was a gap right here. So they moved a unit in, attacked the Russian unit that was there, and smashed it. And you can see there's not much, it's like you're looking at, in some places, just a unit and some artillery defending. That's not a good deal at all. They took a major hit when they had a whole bunch of, I'd say at least 25 to 30% of the army just up and walked away. So maybe a third left the war to go home and said, we had enough. We've been here since 1914. So, yeah, that's not a good deal. Not a good deal at all. So I don't know if that spells the end of the Russian horde or can they recoup from this? They've been down before and just give up territory for the sake of victory. So we'll just have to see what happens because they can't attack at the moment. Over here, the Germans did take some of their replacement troops and moved them in to here, filled the hole that was created before with moving troops around. Throw some other guys into the line right there. So that is pretty much just kept digging in and keep themselves from having too many problems with the because they have territory they can give up because this whole area right through here, that's all Austria. So if they lose it, it's not a big deal because the only thing that matters is up here. So it's just like a delaying action, slowly getting pushed back. Over here, this does matter because this is the fatherland right here. So they completely dug in along the line right there and just see what the Americans can do. That's a pretty good, decent, some good troops in there. So the Americans were going to have some problems trying to punch a hole through that. So if the Germans do get time, they may have to put some reinforcing second layer behind it. But, if they get to this point right here, the Germans can put a good defense along the river there and set up, and they still have a fort system here to protect them. I don't know where, no, Metz, I think, is right here. So they got some forts still in there. All right, we'll be back. All right, Allies. 1918 July, Eastern Front. The Russians decided it's better to give up some territory because they got a lot of territory they can give up all the way back to here before it really matters. So they can fall back and it's like, okay, we'll just do that. And so they fell back here. They're still holding tight here. They moved some of their unit over this direction so they can hold that road right there. They're dug in pretty good. And it's kind of hard to get an attack going across over here because it's just like the best you can do is get a 2-to-1. So that's a kind of a tough nut. But over here, facing these guys, they decide, just fall back. Probably better deal because it like right here is one city and back here's the other city. That's a long slog all the way from there to get there, and it's going to take at least 3 turns, 4 turns, and if you're fighting along the way, the odds are you're not going to get there in time anyway. So, all right, over here the British did attack. Where was the attack? Right here. There was an attack at this location there. These three army groups attacked across the way and demoralized 2 units and had an exchange with another corps. So the British did lose 1 corps out of the attack. It was a half exchange, that was it. And so they lost a corps. So it was probably in the favor of the Germans by losing a 463 versus the Brits lost a 574. So yeah, that's actually coming out ahead there, even though they lost some territory which belonged to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which no longer, they don't want anymore for some reason. They decided to quit this thing. Over here though, the Americans got punched in the face a bit, but they did take a hex right here. They punched a hole through the line using air support and lots of artillery, but they lost 2 infantry corps and 2 artillery corps in the process of taking that hex. And well, to say the Germans made them pay the price. It was a couple of, there was one, there's 2 half exchanges involved there and 1 elimination. So it was bad for the but still Americans took some major casualties doing it. But right now there's a hole in the line, and it's going to force the Germans to have to use some of the reinforcements to plug the hole. That's the one thing that does, even though they're still fighting in Belgium. That's not even made it in. The Americans looked at some of the elsewhere where they could attack, and it's like right here they can attack here, but it's a -3 to the die because there's a city and they're entrenched. So that is like, wow. Other than throwing a whole bunch of aircraft into there or have some tanks, that's really not feasible attack right there. Their best bet is like probably go through this area. All right, so that was everything for the Allies that turn. A couple minor successes, and then, well, full-fledged retreat with the Russians. All right, we'll be back.